Hi, I'm Dr. Kim Byrd-Rider, and I am a physical therapist and a psychologist. And I had the privilege to teach over 12,000 yoga classes and work in the holistic fields before I went to college and got 4 degrees in healthcare and started working in the hospital systems. So I've seen both sides of the fence. And now currently I'm putting together programs for graduate schools. And I had to have a discussion with my academic director about the types of courses I wanted to choose. So I had to take a really hard look at what we need as people, because you always have to ask yourself the so what question. So what? Why do we need this? Hi, Vanessa. So I had to go through everything academically and go, where do we want to move to? What do we want to be? So the primary goal in this lifetime to me and throughout my studies through psychology and biology and all the sciences is we need to self-actualize or self-realize or evolve as humans. What does that mean? What does self-realization mean? Well, it means taking responsibility for who you really are, your true feelings, your true beliefs, the way what you really think about things, and your true purpose, why you're here on this planet. That all sounds great, but why are we all not living that life? Well, we have developed coping mechanisms and we have social shoulds that are placed on us. We all have a plethora of other things too, like self-hatred and God complexes, and you can title all of these things fit under the title of neurosis. We have this neurotic false self that we have built with all of these different mechanisms I just mentioned, and they're layered on top of who we really are. And so moving those away and exposing our true self, what we really feel and believe, that's priority. That's where we all need to move to. Now, when all of us become self-realized or self-actualized, that's going to look a lot like world peace. That's going to look a lot like we love the planet. We love each other. We all get along. All of those fit in the self-actualization mode. So now how do we get there? That's the real issue, because there's only a certain amount of people on this planet that we can say have reached that level of understanding. And those are people like Buddha and Jesus and Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi and Mother Teresa. And they would even say, well, not all of those, but Mother Teresa, I know, would say, I'm not self-actualized. I'm just working as hard as I can to express love. While the rest of us would say, and Nelson Mandela is probably another one. Now, how do we get to that level? All of us, or at least 51% of us, because then we've got the vote and we will move things forward. So that's our goal. Well, the first thing we have to do is understand the human condition. Awareness is always the first step. So say AA, think of Alcoholics Anonymous. The first thing you do when you walk in that room is you stand up and you go, I'm an alcoholic. Awareness. You admit what's going on. So I'm going to go over a series of 5 courses that I've put together for graduate school. And I'll tell you the school I'm working for if you're interested. But you can take this information any way you want. This is not me self-promoting. This is you explaining the process that I've come to understand. And you use it how you like. Take this information, make your own program. So the first step is the human condition, realizing what's going on. We are very much like a carriage that's being pulled by a horse. And there's a driver sitting at the carriage seat. And then the carriage is locked up. And inside the carriage is your true self, hidden, locked away by all the trauma and coping mechanisms that you have developed over your lifetime. You've hidden that piece of you. Then the person in the driver's seat is the mind, your mind. as a culture, we have over-identified with the mind, and we have put the mind in the driver's seat, and it is driving our life. The mind has all the coping mechanisms in it. So the mind carries the ego self, the false self, the should system, the self-hatred systems, the God complexes, the trauma coping mechanisms. All of those are carried in the mind. So that's what's driving your life. And then the one single horse that's pulling this carriage is the body. So this is the mind, the driver, the body, the horse, and the spirit, which is the true self in the carriage. Those are the three characters in this play: the mind, the body, and the spirit. The body, the horse, has a tendency to break down because it's pulling that carriage all by itself. And it's being driven by a neurotic driver that is driving it literally into the ground and in the wrong direction, into the direction it should go in, not necessarily in the direction it is purposefully to go in. So the horse is getting confused. It's in the mire. It's being drugged through the swamps, and is breaking down. That's health. So taking the first course is anatomy. You want to learn about the horse. What is going on with this horse? What are the disease processes? What does the horse look like? How does it behave? Where do the muscles attach? What is important for this horse to be strong and balanced and have endurance? What is required of that horse? So the first course is just learning anatomy. That's biology, anatomy and physiology, and also how to communicate with one another about anatomy and physiology so that you can learn from other people more about your horse. This is a very important component, is this horse. And you're going to see down the road, we're going to pull it into play. In this program, you want to learn, but then you want to do, and then you've got to practice. That's just what has to happen if you're going to reach self-realization. You can't just learn, because then it's all in the mind and you're stuck here. Learn, do, pull in the horse, practice, pull in the spirit. So you've got to have those three components. We're still in the learning phase. We're learning about the horse. And then the second course is called Neurosis and Human Growth. You can buy the book, read it yourself. It's written by Dr. Karen Horney, which is one of the most important psychologists of our time next to Freud and Jung, the top three in the world of all time as far as psychiatrists contributing knowledge to us through psychology. She started the American Psychological Association. She's from Germany. Her book is phenomenal. And as a psychology major myself, or I have a master's degree in psychology from Harvard University, I studied a lot of psychology theory with a lot of different professors. Now, how I would always get an A in these classes, I did the same thing every single class to get an A. What they would give us, each professor likes his own set or her own set of theories, psychological, behavioral, theories, and we would study those theories. Then at the end of the class, they would give us an essay, and I always wrote on the same thing. I took the theories that they gave us, and then I took Neurosis and Human Growth, which they did not give us, and did a comparative study and did a proof of how these said exactly what Karen Horney said, that my proof was it's all the same wine in different bottles. All these psychological theories are saying the same thing, just from a little different angle and stamping their name on it. And I would get an A every time. What I'm saying is, Karen Horney says it best in Neurosis and Human Growth, and it is super similar, if not the same, than every other psychological theory out there. But I believe she said it best. She said it clearest. So the second course is just an analyzation of that book. We do a study guide throughout the whole thing and discuss it. So first take anatomy, second Neurosis and Human Growth. Neurosis and Human Growth is about the mind, the state of the mind. It's neurotic. All of us, no one escapes this. We all have neurotic tendencies. I should be the best mother. I should be the greatest person on the planet. I should go this way. I should be a better daughter. I should be this. I should be that. Those are all claims, neurotic claims, and they're all components of neurosis. We've got to see what's going on there. What's interesting is there's really only 3 personality types that play out in neurosis, and you'll be able to spot those all right away with everybody you know and yourself. You'll nail that one. So once you understand the horse, the driver of the carriage, also in neurosis and human growth, it will define what the spirit is, what self-actualization is. So you'll also get definitions of who's that little guy trapped in the carriage that I can't get out? What are his attributes? What is he, she about? You'll learn the situation at hand. Now from there, we're going to do. So we learned, then you got to do. So the third class is called East-West Moving Meditations, and it's really traditional exercises. So these are exercises like yoga, Tai Chi, Feldenkrais, Pilates. Feldenkrais and Pilates are from the West. Watsu. These are all types of body movements that yoke the mind to the body. So yoga by definition means yoking. If you took the word yoga and translated into English, yoga means yoke. They sound really the same, don't they? Yeah, well, that's because they are. So the trick is to yoke the mind to the body, to get the mind out of the driver's seat where it does not belong, and attach it to the body, yoke it to the body, turn it into a horse. The mind is not a driver. It's a worker. It's a horse. It's a puller. So the mind and the body should be in service to the spirit. The reason you're here, what you think, the real you should be the driver. You got to get him out of the carriage, get him into the driver's seat, get the driver, the mind, out of that seat, and yoke him to the body horse. So now you have 2 horses. You have a body horse and a mind horse, and they are in service of the driver, the true self. And the way that you get the mind yoked up to the body horse is through these mindful exercises. They've been around for thousands of years, and there's a reason, because they're not just exercises. They are exercises for the body, but they're also exercises for the mind. And the purpose is to bring those 2 horses side by side and make them work together. So the do class is learning those exercises, each one. In my class, we have 10 weeks. So it's on the quarter system. And so we spend each week on a different one. You got to learn the theory of each one. Why are they doing that? Why do they do what? How do they do what? Why is there so much precision involved? What's going on here? That's what you're learning. And then you actually do the exercises. You do yoga, you do Tai Chi, Qigong, you do Feldenkrais, you do Pilates, you do Watsu, which is floating water. So you have to start doing to yoke these 2 together. It takes real work. That's the 3rd class. And then the 4th class is called Physics and the Jedi. And I'm actually doing like a podcast show like this show on physics and the Jedi, because there's just so much to physics and the Jedi. What does that mean? It's science meets philosophy/religion. So philosophy of old was religion. A lot of religions are built up around philosophies. The philosophies were first Confucianism. That was a guy, Confucius, talking about philosophy, and then a religion formed around him. Jesus kind of was the same thing, and so was Buddha. Buddha was just speaking philosophy. He was spouting his true self, what love was, what it was like to experience the true self, self-actualization, self-realization. He's talking about what that is. And because it's so profound and so prophetic to everyone, a religion formed around him. So you're going to find these philosophies of self-actualization buried, or hopefully not buried, but they're evident, riddled throughout those religions, buried because a lot of rituals starts forming around them, and people have a lot of opinions. It's buried under that. But if you strip that away and go to the essence of the original work, Jesus is a really good example of that. If you actually read what Jesus said, as opposed to all of the religion built around that and their opinions of what religion is, to strip that all away, go straight to the original philosophy of that religion. There's a wealth of information about how to live your life, how to self-actualize. So we uncover that, but then we also do it as a comparison with physics. And that can be theoretical physics, which is more like quantum physics, particle physics, multi-dimension. Particle physics says there are multi-dimensions, just like religious philosophy says that too. So we do a comparison analysis of physics, hard physics, and theoretical physics along with religion. And we interview and talk to people of both realms and see if we as viewers, we as observers, can meld the two together. Where do those intersect? Where's the truth in all of where science and religion intersect and come together? That's what that's about. The course will be fun, but you can also listen to the podcast, and the videos will be here on Well World as well, and Roku for free of charge for you guys to see. And then the last one is practice. Oh boy, that is bridging it all together. You're going to have to bring all of it. You've got a learning base. You know how to do it. You have the philosophy. Now, how do you bridge it all together? Isn't that funny? I just did the lotus flower. It was unintentional, completely unintentional. So, but you are bringing all of this together. What are you bringing together? You're bringing biology, psychology, physical therapy. So the doing is the physical. I have 2 degrees in physical therapy. So I'm big on that one. And that's the body horse, of how to work the body horse and how to bring the mind into it. So that's physical therapy, basically. And then religion / philosophy, same thing. And then physics. That's quite a bit of science, all wrapped up. And then you have the religion component and also the holistic component of those philosophies, of those sciences. Take the science, you take the religion, that's how you get the physics and the Jedi title for things. Now you got to walk it out. So this class or this section of the process that you want to do is how you're going to do all of that. Because guess what? You got to do all of that together. Not only do you have to have the awareness and the knowledge base, then you have to do the practices. You have to do the physical practices. You have to do the mental practices. You have to do the psychological practices. And the psychological practices is, reminding yourself who you are today, where you are today, what your belief system is, reminding yourself what your belief system is, because it's so easy to get sucked back into that old situation of the horse, the mind driving, and the spirit locked away. Like every morning we wake up in that condition, and every morning we have to reface it all and go, oh, this is my new reality. Now, how do I set up rituals? Because that's basically what they are. Humans love rituals. These are basically rituals that you do every single day. You don't get Saturday, Sunday off. You do these every day. And that awakens this beautiful scenario of Cinderella's carriage. open carriage, being driven by the spirit, and the two horses, the mind and the body, are pulling it. Now you have awakened. And you do that every day. Now we have to create that for ourselves. It's different for all of us. And so part of this program is, what does that look like for you? We bounce ideas off each other, and I'm suggesting you do that with your friends if you're doing this on your own, is how do I make sure that every aspect of the things that I'm talking about are covered every day? And then also giving you a plan B. Like the plan A is what I do, every day, and also work, and also do all the other obligations of my life, because it's really easy to do this when you're a monk sequestered in a cave for 3 years. Sure, you can do your rituals every day. You can do them all day, every day. That's easy. Now live in this world and do that. And it is possible. But then you always have this A that you do regularly, but then you have this B plan that you also do when days are irregular, like you're on vacation. So just because I go on vacation for 2 weeks, I don't skip my practice. I don't do my whole practice. I do an abbreviated version of it, or I do one piece of it each day, or whatever my plan B is that I decide, but it doesn't fall by the wayside. Or even you might explore a different version of that practice. It's nothing like the practice you do at home. It is walking in the sun 5 times a day, and just watching the leaves, or whatever it is. But your curriculum, the things that you have to do, or not have to, but the things that you want to do, because this life can be joyful and liberating and move forward. And above all, it can be healthy, because guess what? When this carriage is moving, like I'm saying, the body gets healthy. The body's happy. It's got somebody else pulling with it, the mind, and it's going in the direction it knows it's supposed to go. And that's health. That's real health. That's mental health. That is physical health. That is joyful living and productive living. And you're fulfilling the purpose of why you're here on this planet. You wouldn't be here if you didn't have a purpose. So stop hiding your light under a bushel tree. Stop hiding the true self under this manufactured tree that's been manufactured by society and your neurotic mind. So we can move away from that. I want to give you hope and process to do this, and support. I'm here for you, and I'm going to give you as many tools as I possibly can to succeed. We have to succeed. So I call this utopian healthcare because it's bringing everything together. It's bringing science with holistic. It's bringing the East together with the West. It's really examining what an actualized life means for you and me and the world. So please join me. I think it's super important. That's an understatement. Now, if you want to join me, you can go to, right now I'm currently teaching at the California Institute of Human Science in San Diego, California. It's all online. These courses are available online. I teach 1 a quarter. We're on the quarter system. You're welcome to sign up there, CIHS.org, and you can look for my classes. So I will be teaching all of them. And then, or you can just go to my website and there'll be a link to find those courses and, more information about that. That's probably the easiest. It's Byrd-Rider That's my name, BYRDRIDER, rehab.com, or the same URL, utopianhealthcare.com will take you there as well. Byrd-Rider, Utopian Healthcare will also take you there. Either way. But do come find us, join us, at least at the minimal amount, join the Well World TV program that I'm doing for free. And that is going to be called Physics and the Jedi. It's going to be really fun. We're going to interview some super interesting people that have something to say about this whole concept and how to make it happen for you. So I so appreciate you joining me. It was too much fun, and we're going to have even more fun in the future. I have no doubts about that. So have a great day, and I will see you in the future.